Top 5 tips, Unicorn Overlord. So this is for expert mode. This is from playing the demo, which you can play for 7 hours. So I've played it for 10 hours though somehow. I won't explain how I've done that. But let's go into the tips. All right, first tip. Very first tip. When you deploy units, do not just hit A immediately. You can go further in either direction. So if you want to deploy a unit closer towards the enemy, make sure you move them closer. And you can do this for every deploy. So I can deploy my entire team substantially closer to the enemy just by hitting over. So that's the first tip. Now, the second tip is rest, if used incorrectly, can be very dangerous. So what is rest? So rest is this command where you will sit there, you will wait, and when you're waiting, enemies have first strike on you, and when you're resting, you do not counterattack. So if you are low on stamina and you want to get stamina back, resting can be useful to do. But the best way to rest is to either be off on the side and rest away from enemies, or to have an allied unit with a lot of stamina that can guard it. Those are like the best ways to handle that situation. Now, in some cases, you can rest in an aggressive position and, you know, enemies, the enemy boss doesn't spawn things fast enough and you're fine. But in some cases, you can be caught off guard, and what will happen is the enemy will just keep attacking you until you die. So do not rest when you're near enemies. You will definitely die. The other thing too is so this is tip 3, if a group dies on your team, you will not be able to use them. They're not dead permanently, but you will not be able to use them or redeploy them. They'll be dead unless you have a corned ash, which can be used to essentially resurrect them. So that's very useful for, you know, if you lose a unit that you really need to beat the battle, you can bring them back. Now, on the topic of res though, this is still part of tip 3. If a unit is dead in a group, so like let's say one of these units is downed, but the other units are up, you can stick them on your command post or on a fort that heals, and they will heal and actually resurrect. So as long as the whole team isn't dead, you can still resurrect and have them heal. And you can also do cool things like if you undeploy, like if you have a unit go withdraw, like if I order them to withdraw and I have another fort, this is tip 4. If I have another fort, I can actually deploy at that fort. So if we owned this fort and let's say this was like further over here, I could have a unit that was like here, withdraw, and then redeploy from this fort. So if you own a fort, you can deploy from that fort. And also, if you get more valor points from combat and you go to deploy another unit, you can deploy them from a more aggressive forward position. Now, in this map, when we cap the fort, we win. But in bigger maps with more forts, deploying more units from those forts that are further on in the map will help you beat the map faster, because then you don't have to travel from the start all the way to where you need to go. So those are the 4. And then for the 5th one, real time is an important resource. So if you run out of time, you lose. Right now the game is paused, right? So if I hit B, it unpauses. And this guy's about to get away, which we do not want. He's trying to steal our gold, which is very obnoxious of him. So we're going to have him chase. So when you are in pause mode, you can actually hit A to pause as long as you're not selecting anything. When you're in pause mode, you can give your units actions. This is very important for setting up tactics, right?
What do you need?
So if you want to quickly kill things, here, let's have these fight that. If you want to quickly kill things, you're going to want to set it up so that all of your units are doing something. So when you unpause, they actually can be useful. Also, obviously, when your units bump into an enemy, you're going to get one of these situations. You're going to be in a battle, so changing your tactics is very useful too. So this is like a bonus tip. So we have assaulting lance. We can change this. You can add tactics. So we're going to add true thrust in this case. And let's see. Looks like the damage is better. He should true thrust. So let's see what he does. And then also we have magical assists. You can see up there.
I'll support you.
So we get damage increase from both of those units. So now we have a much more favorable combat. So like ranged units that are like leaders of parties can give you bonus damage for free. And they also used one against us. We hit him with 2. Alright, so he assaulting lance low, which isn't terrible. And we got a block. But these are some of the basic tips that helped me out, just like switching units. So to recap, switching units from like one base to the other is really useful. Don't rest in bad positions. When you deploy, make sure you deploy as far away from or as close to the enemies as possible, so that when you actually deploy, you're in a better position, because right now we're in a position to dive better. Also, if your units die, like the whole unit dies, you don't lose them permanently, but for that battle you can, unless you use Corn Dash. If some of the units die, you can have them heal at a location, and then of course if you run out of time you lose, so you want to make use of the pause as often as possible. So like if you play in real time and like start going to select things, it can be pretty crazy.
Stand before me.
So I don't recommend that. So yeah, that's it for this one. Definitely like and subscribe if you found this useful, and I'll see you next one. Peace.